Hello there, people, or fellow hunters, outdoorsmen, or whatever you are. Welcome to another episode to the Struggling Hunters. You have me, Joe, and on the other side you got
Eric.
and I've already introduced us as the Struggling Hunters, but we'll just go ahead and do our traditional. And together we are the
Struggling
Struggling.
Hunters.
I guess we should probably come up with the countdown to. I think we talk about it every time, but we can never quite get us to time together on that one. Maybe we do it on purpose, maybe we don't, but you will never know.
It's all part of the plan.
It's all part of our plan. But anyway, thanks again for tuning in, for listening to us. We appreciate it. Just real quick, make sure to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. We appreciate it. And hopefully, as we go through this episode, that we can keep your interest peaked. And just our previous episode, just to throw that out there, I don't think we've ever done just kind of lightning just struck my mind. Well, if our previous episode, we talked about, I guess I make knives. Broken antler knives is what I call them. So we went in and talked a little bit about my process in that and kind of how that looks. Anyways, that's what our previous episode was. Go have a listen. If you haven't listened, you can find it on a podcast platform, or go on to YouTube and watch us talk at each other. Whichever way you find value in listening or watching, hopefully we can add to it. But
well, let me jump in real quick. I just wanted to say that last episode, I had a lot of fun going over that whole thing. It was probably one of my more favorite podcasts that we've done, going over the knives and what your process is. And I learned a lot about how to make knives in general, but also the way you do it, I thought was unique and interesting. And I just had a lot of fun doing that podcast. It was good. It was a good podcast, I thought.
yeah, it definitely stretched me a little bit trying to understand on how to put it into words, I guess. Like I've talked to people about it, but I've never really like sat down and tried to explain it in a storyboard form or a story form, or conversing with someone this way about it. So
yeah,
hopefully it wasn't too bad.
yeah.
But anyways, thanks, Eric. Yeah, I did. I will say I did enjoy talking to you about it too. It was fun talking, and hopefully you guys will enjoy listening to it. With that being said, I guess we have a couple of topics we want to get into today. We're going to talk about a little bit of boxing, some hunting incidents, and I'm missing one, aren't I?
Ammunition shortage.
And ammunition shortage. Yeah. I don't think we really have a particular order on how we were going to go about it. But with that, I guess, I don't know so what's the first thing you have popping into your mind right now, Eric, on?
Yeah. We'll just get to the current event of the boxing, I guess, rather, and just kind of get that out of the way, then kind of get to the more outdoors or our style kind of stuff. And I'll just kick it off with the Floyd Money Mayweather versus Logan Paul, the YouTuber. That's going to be happening February 20th. I just think it's kind of fun. I've always been a boxing fan and liked boxing, but obviously these the big matches that come out, they get a little more exciting and definitely pique my interest. Whenever I see some boxing on TV, I'll try to watch it for a little bit, until the wife tells me to switch the channel or something. But I gotta admit, these big fights like that are, they pique my interest even more, and I'm definitely gonna watch this one. I don't know what kind of fight it'll be. Logan Paul, I know he's trained to be, training as a boxer for the last 3 or so years.
Right.
He's
I think he's actually done a couple of fights, right? Like I think I was reading saying that he did a fight in Japan or something a
uh
couple years back, like his
I
first.
that was Floyd that did a Japan fight. Uh
Uh,
Logan fought here in America a couple or a year ago, or back in 2019 at some point. And then he fought like a year earlier. He fought the same guy. The first fight was a draw, and then the second fight he lost to KSI, this YouTuber guy named KSI. And um anyways, it was a pretty big spectacle and everything. And that's what's crazy is this Logan Paul. So what makes the fight is Logan Paul is like walks around 210 pounds, and then Floyd Mayweather is, I think he walks around about 150 pounds. So I mean, I guess that's where they're trying to make the fight. It sounds really crazy to me because Floyd Mayweather is a 50-0 boxer,
right.
and Logan Paul's had 2 professional fights and he's not won one of them. So it's kind of whenever you look at it in that lens, it's kind of crazy. But everybody has a puncher's chance, and Logan Paul is quite a bit bigger than Floyd. Um, but I don't think that Logan will be able to keep up with Floyd. I think Floyd, even though Floyd's an older man, I mean, I think he's in his early 40s now. And he's an older man, but he's just gonna probably dance around the ring and kind of wear Logan out until he can get in there and get some punches in on him. Um, Logan, but everybody has a puncher's chance, and Logan being, somewhere in the 200-pound range, I mean, he could put some pretty big blows on him. But it's kind of a spectacle. I think it'll be fun to watch. Uh, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna buy it and watch it. Just, I mean, it got me sucked in, and that was kind of my point. Is as much as I try to be a traditional boxing fan, like these kind of fights definitely pique my interest more and make me want to watch even more. I'd like
So
to say that I don't ever miss a boxing match on TV, but I do. I don't really pay attention that close. I wish I did, but um, yeah. So
yeah, it is kind of interesting, like how you said on the different points there. You have Logan, who's no really professional career of boxing, just more of a hobbyist, I guess you can take it, and willing to step in the ring. Um, if you put that on a personal level, stepping in a ring with a professional fighter, that it's a little daunting for me. Like even if I had time to get in shape and prepare myself, like I don't know, there's I'd be almost honored to be able to, I guess, step in the ring of a professional fighter, but just you said everyone has a puncher's chance. Yeah, Logan can throw out a punch and hit just right and knock Mayweather out. That's always not an option or a possibility. But yeah, just so for me, a couple of the odds of boxing is like their feet work. Like knowing how to put your feet and then aligning the rest of your body to deliver a punch that's going to have a lot behind it. Like all the mechanics that goes into that. Like, yeah, you're doing your little dance there, but you're also getting your feet into position to more or less load your body into a spring to be able to throw. I don't know. I can't remember if it said how many ounce glove they're going to be using,
I don't know if
but
those details have came out yet as far as gloves and that.
just throwing that around, like it's going to be, it will be kind of interesting to see being taking punches and receiving punches and seeing how that goes over.
I I don't know. I don't think it's going to go over very well for Logan, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, all that experience, and I mean, there's definitely an appeal there. I mean, you do have a guy that's so much bigger than Floyd, and I mean, I definitely see the appeal. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm sucked in, so I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna watch it regardless, but it's just kind of a crazy. We're kind of in a crazy time. I mean, and you kind of said something, about like you jumping in there. Um, I mean, let's face it, a lot of the reason that this is even happening is because Logan Paul has like 22 million, 23 million subscribers on YouTube. I mean, this is more of a money grab, than an actual legit fight, in my opinion. But um,
Yeah,
and
I guess at the end of the day, they're not really trying to, well, they are trying to pay the bills, but it's not I guess I'll throw it out there. It's not a true hunger fight.
yeah, yeah,
It's not, someone coming up saying, I'm trying to make my name. I'm trying to be here because I'm putting bread on the table.
yeah. They
it is
they
more like you said, a money grab,
yeah,
or however you want to word it. It's not. If it was me going up, like, against Mayweather, it's going to be, hey, this is my shot. I want as much money as I can get. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll step in that ring.
Oh
But
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Logan probably feels like he has a chance. I mean, I don't think that he doubts himself, but he Logan's like 25. I mean, I remember whenever I was 25, I thought I could conquer the world, and you know, uh, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think
so
that.
I guess kind of what going off what you're saying there. So you have all the testosterone filled of a 25-year-old, and I believe Mary Mayweather is 43 and has years of experience of boxing. So I guess there is kind of a trade-off of I'm 10 feet tall and bulletproof to I got professional training in boxing, and I can slip them. I put the punches in where they need to be. And you have uh, Logan that's going to be, I'll take a punch. Yeah, I can take it. I outweigh him by 50 pounds. I got something here.
Yeah,
Outweigh and taller. So
I just think that it's gonna be kind of a bit of a humbling experience, but I will say in Logan's defense, I mean, he's he's been training, pretty hard, and he's taking it very serious. It's just a crazy fight, and I think that he has a chance. I mean, like I said, he has a puncher's chance, but yeah, I kind of think that it's going to be a wake up call for him, because kind of what you were alluding to is Floyd. I mean, he is older and stuff, but I mean, this guy's been doing it since he was a baby, practically. Since he could walk, he's been punches. His dad was a professional boxer for a time, and boxing's just been a part of his life. And he's 50-0 with other people that were, you got to think. I mean, they might have been around his weight class, but all the guys that he ever fought and that wanted to knock his head off, and that also trained but from the time they were real young to whenever they had their chance to fight Floyd, and Floyd beat 50 guys, and throughout his professional career. I mean, at the end of the day, Yeah, I just don't see. I mean, just because a guy says he's retired doesn't mean that he can't throw a few punches for a few rounds on a
Well,
particular night.
especially at 43, like, how many people at 43 are still pretty agile?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing though about Floyd too is they from what the word on the street is he stays in shape. He doesn't ever get out of shape. You know, a lot of boxers will do their fight and get out of shape, and Floyd he actually stays in shape. So that'll be interesting because I mean he's still with it. You know, he's still a pretty active guy. So
Right. So in wrapping it up, in sorry, I mean, I know I don't know. Hopefully, I'm not cutting you short, but I just had a thought that of closing this up, tying up all the loose ends, putting everything together that we've just talked about, coming to a conclusion with what we've said. Are we saying it's going to be a KO, one or the other, or is it going to go the segmented amount of rounds that they're given?
I could see it going the distance. I think that I my prediction. This is kind of my prediction. I think Floyd's going to put the hurting on Logan, but I think Logan's a tough kid, and him being 50 pounds over Floyd, I think he'll be able to take Floyd's punches. And so, however many rounds that they decide to go, um, I think that they'll probably be able to stay in there the whole time. Also, I think that Floyd will kind of put on a show. So um, I don't think that Floyd's going to go in there for the kill right away. I think he's going to kind of dance around and he might even take a few licks. So whenever Floyd fought McGregor, it was said that, you know, a lot of people, and you never know what's actually true or not, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, McGregor, you know, he got a few rounds on Floyd, and he really put on a show." And and it was said by Floyd Mayweather, he's like, "Come on, I put on a show for the people." He's like, I didn't, you know, I could have took McGregor out a lot earlier than I chose to, but I put on a show for the people. Whether that's true or not, I mean, you know, I don't know if you watched that fight, but um
I did.
you did or you didn't?
No.
No. Um I mean, McGregor looked better than I think a lot of people expected. He was unorthodox in there and stuff, and McGregor fans are probably, you know, would disagree with what Floyd said for sure. And let me correct, like I'm a fan of both to an extent. I think they're both kind of great in their own right. So for me, I was like, I don't care who wins, you know, it'll be great no matter what. So I just kind of, you know, it was cool seeing Floyd won, but if McGregor would have won, I would have been just as stoked or whatever for McGregor to win. But I'm just saying, like, you know, Floyd's a smart, he's pound for pound one of the best defensive fighters to ever do it. And I mean, you know, I think if he wants to put on a show, he'll put on the show for, you know, but he's going to get his licks in. And I don't know if Logan will be able to keep up with Floyd, even though that Logan's a lot younger. But I do think Logan's a tough kid. And I think that he's taken boxing serious too. So I'm not trying to take away from Logan at all. I'm just kind of looking at it as like a guy that's had one draw and one loss versus a guy that's had 50 wins. I feel like it's kind of Floyd Mayweather's fight for sure at the
So
end of
if
the
you're going
day.
to say Floyd wins, and you're going to say it's going to go the distance, so they call that a draw when they how do they do that when they count the punches?
No, so Floyd would win. Is that what you mean? Like
Yeah,
if they go all rounds?
yeah.
Yeah, I think Floyd will win. He'll land more punches than Logan will.
And then I'm gonna call Floyd winning by knockout. He's gonna play with them for a few rounds and then just lay into him.
Get it, get at him.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Well, so I guess that there is kind of a technical there too, because so they're gonna classify it as an expedition match, and so it's not like a real pro match. And if they might put rules on there where they don't want anybody to get knocked out, which I don't know how you can really control that, but I guess you just try not to go for the kill necessarily.
Right.
So if that is the case with the athletic commission, if they do that, um, I I don't know how they would though, because I feel like that's the only chance that Logan has is if he can clock him just right and knock him out, because he's not going to go all the rounds with him. I mean, so I don't know. It's, I guess that's kind of more technical hoopla, but I could see where Floyd could knock Logan out in the later rounds after Logan's tired and just is standing there being a punching bag because he's too tired to move. But so I could see that, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of more in Floyd's will, in his court. I think he'll just decide what he wants to do. Either way, though, it's exciting. I watched that Mike Tyson. Just blanked out on his name. I'm so embarrassed. Anyways, I watched the Mike Tyson fight, and which was really fun. The fight of the night was obviously Logan's little brother Jake, whenever he knocked out Nate Robinson. That was a pretty good fight, but the Mike Tyson fight was interesting, and I don't know, they're really I can't remember what my point was to bring that fight up, but these fights are kind of making boxing fun again. The only problem is though, is if the fights aren't good, if they start kind of being pretty lame, I don't see where the interest will stay in boxing. But I think it kind of brings it to boxing, and it's kind of unfair. I mean, some of these guys that have put their heart and soul into boxing, like because they don't have 20 million followers, they don't get the same opportunities as a YouTuber that's had 2 fights and never actually won a fight. Gets the same opportunities as them. But hey, we live in a crazy world, so it is what it is.
True.
But it's just fun. It's just fun what boxing kind of being something again. Because it's kind of been stale for so long with the UFC and all the excitement around UFC. Boxing's kind of taking a back seat. So it's kind of nice to see it coming forward again, being talked about more. I think that was my point, bringing up the Mike Tyson fight.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I guess we can just move on to the next little topic that we had. Do you want to go into, should we go into the guy getting shot?
Yeah, well, you're already kind of getting into it. So, you want me to talk about it, or?
Yeah, sure. We'll start there and we can go from there.
Yeah. So, so this guy in Minnesota, I don't really want to throw out names. I mean, you can look it up or whatever. I just don't know if it's really my place to throw out actual names, but this guy in Minnesota, there was 2 hunters out hunting in Minnesota. And, this young guy, he had a family, and, he's 28. He was out, hunting for deer, and, another guy, shot him and mistaked him for a deer. He was also hunting and thought he's, saw a deer. I guess the sun was coming down, and it was starting to get a little dark, and he saw some movement and just shot and killed this guy. And obviously we're the struggling hunters, we talk about hunting stuff, but the reason I wanted to bring this up is because it bugs me. Like it bugs me for two reasons. For one, like you're that you're shooting at something that you can't even see. You don't
Right.
know if it's an actual deer or not. You're just guessing that it's a deer. I mean, why do these people do this? Like, why are you not seeing your shot?
True. Well, like, so as you're introducing the topic there, the what we're going to talk about, you're saying that the article was saying that it supposedly it was getting late in the day, sun was going down, it was getting dark, you couldn't tell what it is. And as I was listening to you tell it, I kind of go, okay, so what's going on? So he has low light. He must have, let's just give him the benefit of a doubt. He has an either or tag. So meaning he has a buck or doe tag. And one guy's was archery hunting. So he was shot with a rifle, right? Or a muzzle
Mm-hmm.
loader.
It was a rifle,
It was a rifle. So
to the best of my knowledge, I guess.
so he has, I guess, the ability to be able to see a little further than you can with the naked eye, kind of low light situations or lower light situations. So I guess he's getting desperate, wanting to fill a tag, and seems like he has an opportunity. It must be, so a human more or less isn't the same size of an elk or a moose. So we're going to be a little bit smaller. So, like as far as size go, if you just, if a guy's crouched down trying to hike, move through the woods, he, like as far as size go, he could be confused as a deer. But like you said, like, I'm trying to find, how do you go trying to go through the scenario in my head to justify the shot? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm telling myself, I don't care if it's a buck or doe. All I know is I can evidently shoot either or, because I'm not trying to make sure I'm shooting a buck, or I'm trying to make sure I'm shooting a doe, so I'm trying to confirm those before I even pull the trigger. So if I'm pulling the trigger, I guess what I'm getting at is if you're confirming if it's a buck or a doe, you should be able to see what it is you're shooting at. And that should allow you to be able to tell if it's a human or not.
I I I mean, most people shoot toward the organs behind the shoulder. How in the world? I mean, how do you make that shot? And I mean, I feel like you're like, oh, there's some movement there. Let's shoot and figure out what it is later. I mean,
Right.
to me, that's what it sounds like. Because I don't. We hear about this happen almost every year, like somewhere in the U.S.
Correct.
Not that long ago here in Colorado. It might have been a little longer than this, but I want to say somewhere around 5 years ago. Same thing happened to a little kid. This one a little bit different, but it's same scenario really. Um, the the uh, the kid and his dad. I don't remember all the particulars, but what I do remember is the kid and the dad were bow hunting, and the guy that shot the kid was had a muzzle loader, and same thing, saw some or heard some movement behind some brush or something and just shot. Now he and this guy in Minnesota, I guess you could say it's the same thing. He didn't have on hunter orange, or that's what they're claiming. But to me, that just like drives me nuts is I was always to wait until you have a clear shot, wait until you get a good aim behind the shoulders. And I mean, you're telling me I just feel like there's people out there that are just so gung ho to shoot a deer that they're they're just shooting at movement. They're not making a good shot placement. They're just shooting at movement.
Right.
And I mean, I guess that's why Hunter Orange is a good thing, but um, just pick your shots. It really bugs me because that story that I just said about the Colorado deal, when that kid died. I mean, I'm taking my son out and I'm trying to show him all the responsible ways of being a hunter. And, that kind of hits close to home to me where I get really ticked off about it because, I mean, I can't imagine what that father felt whenever, he lost his son due to an immature another hunter that took an immature shot. And it really kind of like, the more I talk about it, even on this podcast, I'm starting to get a little riled up over it. But I mean, just to people out there, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, I don't know. I feel like we should probably do more public service announcements on it. I mean, like whenever we do our podcast, like have a little thing in there saying, make clear, precise shots, or something, because it just makes me mad that people are that gung ho to get an animal. I get the excitement, but know what you're shooting. It's just crazy to me.
Right. Well, like, it's one of those things too. If you go, okay, let's turn this over and look at it from a different take hunting completely out of it. But I'm getting at, when in life have you tried to rush a situation and it's turned out good for you? Or, maybe, I mean, I sound like a kind of a downer, but like, it seems like in my life, if I've tried to rush something through and not take the time to do the proper tick marks to make sure I'm doing it correctly, to make sure I didn't overlook something, if I just, tear something apart that I'm working on and try to put it back together and not go slow to make sure it's all correctly, seems like I always miss a part, or I'll break something and now I'm doing it 10 times as longer. So what I'm getting at is, and take your time to make sure things are done correctly, not only in the hunting world, but out of the hunting world too. But yeah, like, here's this thing that, you want to hunt with your son until you're out there with a walker or cruising around in a jazzy. And, so you want it to be a lifelong endeavor and you want it to be a positive thing. And it's almost, you can see why people almost go insane in creating laws or whatnot to try to keep this stuff from happening, it just makes it more difficult for the hunter to be out in the woods.
Yeah.
If people would just practice common sense and patience, a lot of this could be resolved.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I hate Hunter Orange. I hate wearing that stuff. I do. I mean, to me, it feels like it kind of clashes with everything, but, when situations like this occur.
Well, so when I was hunting with you out there in Colorado, how many times did we look across and see Hunter Orange? Like, yeah, it does clash, and you're kind of glad it clashes for a minute, because then you're like, oh, that's a hunter. A couple of those times, like looking across the canyon, it was way too far for a shot anyways, but it was nice to go like, oh, I can see orange. I don't have to spend the next 15-20 minutes trying to decide what that movement is.
Right.
And so that for me, when I saw that, I started glassing around that hunter to see if he was pushing anything around that he didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess for that fact, I do like Hunter Orange. I like it whenever everybody else wears Hunter Orange, but I just hate wearing it. No, but I mean, look, if Colorado, Idaho for the longest time, didn't really have a rule on it, or at least I never wore it. One of the two, I'm not sure. which is which, but I never really wore hunter orange in Idaho, but um, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't a state law, I probably wouldn't wear it, but um, I just I don't know, it just really gets me, man, that people make these quick decisions like that, and I get it out of desperation. I mean, man, that elk that we saw during our hunt. I mean, I pulled up my rifle. I knew I couldn't shoot it, but I pulled up my rifle because I was hoping it would grow horns in 30 seconds, and it never did. But I mean, I get, what I'm trying to say is I do get like having that desperation to want to get something, but you hear movement and you just pull. I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy to me that you wouldn't see what you're shooting. And how can you, like, I just don't know
Maybe
how
we
you can identify a rib cage
right.
on a,
How yeah, how was the angle in a way that that allowed you to like be like, oh, its feet or its front shoulder is 4 feet up in the air,
yeah,
and it's going vertically, not horizontal.
yeah. Oh, that deer looks like he's trying to climb trees. That's weird.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, it kind of, it really bothers me because I just, like I just, it just really makes me mad because these people just don't belong out there hunting. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I don't think they belong out there hunting. If you can't be patient enough to identify your shot, I mean, you don't need to be out there hunting. You're trigger happy, and you're a danger to everybody, including yourself. And you know, um, I mean, I will say, it probably sucks for that guy too. I mean, I'm sure he didn't mean to,
Oh, for sure.
you
Well, like
know,
the article even went in to say that he was very cooperative and called 911 as soon as he realized his mistake and worked with the the sheriff or whatever department was investigating it. It wasn't like he tried to hide the fact, which is awesome,
hmm
that that he did that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he was willing to stand up for what he did wrong, and I mean that, and that's good. And I do feel bad for him too, because I know he probably didn't mean it, but he obviously, out of desperation. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, being an armchair quarterback, but out of desperation, out of negligence, out of, maybe not being well trained. And but I feel like that was always something that I took away from hunter safety that I remember to this day, is they always said, we watched I remember watching a video and them preaching over and over again that wait until your animal steps out from behind the brush so you can clearly see. um the video, actually, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I kind of remember the video. I remember they're showing like this guy that was hunting, and then this what looked to be like, or would look just like a buck, was walking along. And then I think as a young man, you're like, oh man, hopefully he gets that buck or whatever. And then they kind of like flipped the scene, and they showed a guy carrying a buck over his shoulders, right? And that's why they said, like, wait until that, you could see it clearly from behind the brush. You can see what it is clearly, or else, you could accidentally shoot somebody like that. And I never seen, the only thing that made me kind of laugh at that video, like, I mean, this was so long ago. I was 12 years old or whatever, but I do remember that. The thing that made me laugh about that video though was, I'm like, funny thing is though, is I've never seen anybody carry a deer out that way. So I don't know. But but I remember they ingrained that in my head in hunter safety. I still remember that from 12 years old. So um you can't tell me that you never been taught that to wait. You just, I mean, maybe you didn't pay attention in that time of the class, but I mean, I feel like if you've taken hunter safety, they've told you wait until you have a clear shot. Wait until you can identify your target.
Right. And
And
that's kind of goes back to as well. It's hard to do, but understanding your jitters, like learning that patience and the importance of it. Like, I'm sure, yeah, like it's almost, it's like I kind of what I guess I'm comparing it to like playing video games or watching a movie. I don't think I'm gonna do it justice, but like you're always like, oh, I gotta watch. What's gonna happen next? I gotta watch. And like, oh no, don't turn it off just yet. I'm another 10 minutes, and I'm gonna be done. It kind of like that, but out in the field, when something happens that quickly, I can see, like you said it, you just throw up your rifle and you're just ready to go. And that's, you don't want to lose. That pull of that trigger is fractions of a second, and then your nervous system operates pretty quickly too, and you don't want to miss that opportunity, so you throw up and everything. I'm sure it happens just so quickly. You just, oh, that's it, and you pull the trigger, and within a tenth of a second, a decision is made that you can't take back.
yeah, you can't take that back no matter how much you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's why it's important, so I was listening to the Meat Eater podcast, and they talked about that case. And so I looked it up and was wanting to talk about it because I just thought it was important to spread around. I mean, I feel like most people that probably listen to Meat Eater probably, or anybody that listens to us probably also listen to Meat Eater. So you might be hearing it twice, um, but what I'm kind of getting at though is I thought it was important to bring up just to kind of reiterate that whole deal, because I just thought it was important. Whenever I heard that, you hear it every year and it just makes me mad. And I know just because we're bringing it up, it probably won't stop. But I mean, it's just identify your target. That's all I can say is identify. You don't want to be that guy that killed somebody for the rest of your life, whether you get in a lot of trouble or don't really get in trouble at all. I mean, I don't know what comes out of those situations, because I get that it's a complete accident. So should you go to prison for it? I don't know, but it was a stupid decision, and you need to identify your target. And I just don't understand. Like, I know you're trying to break it down thinking, how could you do that? Must have been, they were able to shoot an either or sex because, obviously it wasn't looking for antlers. And yeah, I get that a little bit more. And I don't know if Minnesota has much elk over there. I think they have a little bit, right? Is Minnesota the one that, it's been a while since we've done stuff on elk, because they reintroduced elk in a lot of places. I can't remember if Minnesota was one of them.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But so that's another thing that I keep thinking too. I'm like, for me and you, where we have, I mean, bears, elk, deer, moose at times.
And even bovine, cows, calves.
Yeah.
Like,
Good point. Yeah. A lot of those, you definitely got to identify your target. You shoot one of those, they'll come after you probably more than shooting somebody, another hunter.
well, so side note, the guy I work with, he was a Marine. I believe he was telling me he was stationed out in Texas in one of his things. And we're in the middle of nowhere and there's not a lot to do. But so like, he's like, a lot of times you go out shooting And here's the thing I found kind of interesting is it was kind of like it sounded like it was ingrained in them every day about target practicing. And I guess it was kind of a free range area, so the cows could just mosey wherever they wanted. And he said that if you shot a cow, you not only had to pay for that cow, what the market is for that cow at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but you also had to pay for like 3 offspring of it or something like that. So like even though it didn't have maybe 3 calves, but it would have produced 3 calves or 3 other calves. So you
Right.
had to pay for 3 other ones too.
You
So
had to pay for total loss and not just the
yeah,
loss of the cow, but total loss of what it could have produced in the future.
right. So I mean, there's a little segue, but that's just kind of like stuck with me.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know how much we want to beat up that topic anymore, but yeah, to the people that are listening to this, and just spread the word about it too, talk about it to your fellow hunters, your buddies or whatever about this stuff, because I mean it needs to be ingrained in people's heads, man. I mean, I guess it's really important to me, and I mean I'm not gonna back down. I mean who would argue me, right? But um I'd like to see somebody in the comment section, well, actually I disagree. Okay. But um uh it is important to me. Like I said, I mean that situation that happened over here in Colorado years back. Um, my son, I really enjoy taking my son out. I want to, I can't wait till the day that I notice him becoming a better hunter than I. And with that said, I just, um, man, yeah, I don't know. Something happened to my boy. It'd be ugly for the other people. Um, I mean, it's just a really serious thing. And I don't know. I just don't want to, I don't want those kind of mistakes. I don't want it to happen to me or anybody else I know or anybody. I mean,
right.
we're all hunters. We're all a community. We all, we might hate it whenever you hunt in our spot, but we still all appreciate each other for what we do, trying to
Correct.
conserve.
Well, it's like one of those things too that, you know, you want to enjoy the woods. You want others to enjoy the woods. You don't want anyone to have a bad experience. You don't want a bad experience happen to you. And we want to enjoy this for as long as possible. So if everyone takes that extra, you may lose. It might cost you a shot on something you want, but God, it goes into like. I'll end with this. I'll quit after this, but making sure your shot placement is good is great, because it may cost you the animal of a lifetime, but it'll keep you from maybe making a decision of a lifetime.
Actually, to add on, I was going to try to move on after that, but you brought up a good point about shot placement. That's another thing that was going through my head. I'm like, I feel like that's an immature. Even let's say the guy didn't shoot another guy, but shot at the animal behind the brush and couldn't quite make out what he was or what the animal was, but just knew it was an animal and wanted to shoot. You're telling me that you're willing to take that bad of a shot and chase it up around the hills and hope
Correct.
that you find blood? Because I mean, that's where I'm like, what you didn't, there's no way that you identified your target. You saw some brush move and you took a shot, hoping for the best, but not knowing if you were going to get the best or the worst. Obviously the guy got the worst as far, and it's just very immature, man. I just don't have much. I don't have any tolerance for it. I mean, I'm getting myself worked up just talking about it again. So,
So
um,
ammo shortage.
what's that?
Ammo shortage.
Ammo shortage. Yeah. Let's get into that. So, Yeah. So we, obviously it's even before hunt season. Well, I'll tell you my story. So I had some cheaper ammo that that I was shooting and getting sighted in with that, and just a little bit before hunting season, a couple days before hunting season, I went and I purposely wanted to buy. I bought Hornadies. I actually was kind of wanting to go after um, the
Hard to start.
Nosler. Yeah, the uh, mostly because old Randy Newberg, he sold me on Nosler. I was like, oh, well, and he did a podcast with the Nosler family, and or the guy that runs it or whatever. And I was like, oh, these guys are really good people, a small family owned business, and they're doing their thing. So I went in there and I wanted to buy some expensive bullets, and I wanted to get Nosler. And anyways, what I'm trying to get to is I went in there. This was in what, late October, I guess, and or mid October, and all the 30-06 were sold off the shelf pretty much. I mean, there was a few boxes, and that's what I'll get to is I ended up buying the Hornadies, and I'm like, well, I kind of want to see what the big hype is about Hornady anyway, so I'll go ahead and get those. So no big deal, but I mean, it was pretty much emptied out of so then I noticed that we were kind of getting into an ammunition shortage, and so anyways, I'm looking up why we're going through the ammunition shortage, and there's kind of a lot of things in 2020 that really caused all this. The first thing is with COVID and the pandemic, a lot more people bought ammunition and guns because it was a pandemic, and that's just what people do whenever there's pandemics, is they want to buy a bunch of guns and ammunition. So with COVID-19 happening, that really affected the ammunition shortage. Also, election years uh, caused the same thing. Every time there's election and nobody knows which way it's going to swing, um, a lot of people buy guns. As a matter of fact, um, I will say something funny about Obama. Uh, he brought up something about somebody, an opposer to, or what's the word I'm looking for? I think it was somebody that was obviously pro gun, and you know, maybe wasn't quite a fan of Obama or whatever. Asked him the question, are you against guns and blah blah blah. And a funny thing that Obama said was, I think this was like a little video that was rolling around on Facebook for the longest time, is where I found it. But Obama says, well, I'm not really against guns. As a matter of fact, since I've been president, I'm responsible for more guns being sold than ever before. Um, and so I just thought that was kind of funny. Uh, Not that I mean, I'm not trying to get into politics or anything, but I actually thought he was pretty funny on whenever he made that statement. I was like, oh, that's kind of true. Anyways, election years are the cause of a lot of ammunition shortage times too. And so so we have the pandemic that's causing all these people to want to be buying ammunition, and then kind of the toxic, what's the word, what's kind of a good way, the toxic temperatures of 2020 with all the political stuff and all the anger, riots, everything, all that in a collective, and some talks about civil wars. And um I'll be honest, I'm just trying to do this in a way where, because me and Joe have made a decision to try to stay away from politics as much as possible. So uh I'm not trying to say anything out of turn or really go political on anything, but keeping it kind of just with the idea, or with ammunition shortage, is with everything going on with the political stuff being an election year alone, but also the toxic temperature of the times. A lot of extra ammunition has been bought over 2020, and so all this stuff kind of put together is kind of a collective of why you can't get ammunition in the stores. And uh and then and right now, from the article that I was reading about the shortage, is these ammo manufacturers, uh right now in this time, they're hiring and pumping out ammunition 24/7. Got 3 crews trying to pump out as much ammunition as possible, and as
Yeah,
soon as it hits the stores, it's getting bought up.
that's what I was gonna say. It's kind of a weird way of saying an ammo shortage, because when you use the word shortage, you're starting to think that like there's a product somewhere that isn't getting made, that's not allowing for enough manufacturing to be made. Like there's something causing it, that's stopping the manufacturing of the ammunition. But like what you said, like on top of that too, like you have a lot of people I was reading that have become gun owners since all this too. So you have not
Yeah.
only the people that have been longtime gun owners, but also people that are first time gun owners. I think it shot up. I can't remember the
I
exact.
don't know. I don't know if I read it wrong, but I might have read it wrong. It might have been 8 million altogether, but I want to say whenever I read that article, um, it said 8 million new owners.
Huh.
That's a lot of new gun owners. I don't know if that's 100% true. It might have been altogether 8 million for the year that have sold 8 million guns for the year. But I don't know. I was like, wow,
So right. So I mean, you add all that up, and people, like that's why like everyone's having all the manufacturing of bullets, or having people working around the clock. But there's just like, with all that, and not only with all the political stuff and whatnot, but you throw in new gun ownership too, that's above average. Like it gets hard to keep ammunition on the shelves.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's crazy. I was online looking up at a Sportsman Warehouse over here in Colorado, or one of our local, we have a Cabela's too, but one of our local places where I usually go to Sportsman's and buy all my stuff there. And anyway, I was kind of going through, clicking on, uh I went from 30-06, seeing if there was any 30-06, and everyone that I clicked on, they all said, "Oh, you're sold out in your local store, sold out in your local store, temporarily sold out." And then so I was like, okay, well, that's not good. I was like, well, I need to re-up on 22 shells. I wonder what that looks like. Everything was sold out on that too. So um yeah, it's definitely kind of it's definitely, well, kind of like you said, it's not really a shortage. It's just that the manufacturers can't keep up. But I got to thinking, I'm like, man, I wish I had a couple machines or something. Start put right now. They would love me. They'd these ammunition stores would probably love me bringing a few boxes, saying, "Hey, sell these."
Right. Yeah. So, and like, it is interesting. I mean, look, it's how it affects everything in a way too. Like, the hunting experience. Not only you're trying to buy the box of bullets that you're looking to buy, but I've heard stories of people of going out trying, their first time hunting, or their first rifle that they bought for themselves, going out and trying to sight that in. And typically when you try to sight in a gun, you want to keep it with the same brand and weight bullet.
Mm-hmm.
for when you go hunting. But like the one story I heard, the person went around to like 3 or 4 different um, dealerships, stores, or whatever you want to, Cabela's, Sportsman's, the local gun shop. And they went around to like a handful of different stores trying to find a box of ammunition, and they end up with like 2 or 3 different brands and caliber, or not caliber weight, bullet weight of boxes of ammunition, because everything was sold out. So
Yeah, I know. I was wanting to, I was like, I need to get out and do some target practice and try to stay caught up with that. But now I'm like, well, maybe I just need to wait until I can get more bullets all the way around, because I don't want to shoot everything up just in case.
right,
Just in case I never get bullet, or just in case this bleeds into 2019 or 2021. I'm going
right,
backwards. But no, it's crazy. And uh yeah, I mean, we're just in some crazy times, and hopefully things settle down. But well, I'll be honest, I don't know if I want to say, I was kind of wanting to kind of get a couple of extra boxes, because uh I don't know if be taxed. I'm trying to be very diplomatic here, but yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get taxed higher for buying bullets, or so I was like, I better look into buying some bullets. And
yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the future holds for that.
yeah, might have
Hopefully,
to really get into the idea of just doing. It might actually end up being a lot cheaper. I know it is cheaper, but might be well worth it doing your own reloads.
true, true. Well, we're an hour and 2 minutes into this. Um,
Wow.
I guess I was thinking maybe we'll wrap it up. Do you have anything else you wanted to close with as far as the ammunition?
Well, this is going to come out after Christmas, but this is Christmas week that we're doing this podcast. So, Merry Christmas to and Happy Holidays to everybody out there, and to you too, Joe. Um, yeah, it's been a fun year. Let's see. I think we'll do one more podcast for season 1. I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but the way I figure is we'll do like our seasons. We'll just kind of go with the year. So every time the new calendar year rolls around, we'll put up a new season. So one more episode, and then we're on to season 2. It's hard to believe we've done that many episodes, um, but yeah, that's all I got, man. It's just, do you have anything you're doing for Christmas? Or are you gonna?
Uh, Nothing big. I think we're gonna do maybe a family dinner, and then we're just hanging out at home. We'll probably go for a drive.
Mm, that'd be fun.
Yeah, do a little trip. Nothing, a little day trip or something. A little day drive.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of food gonna be cooked up over the weekend for us. We got a lot of family stuff, and uh
That's fun. That's good.
the old brother-in-law, he's not gonna make it to Christmas, or him and the family aren't gonna make it. Got COVID, so
Ooh,
they're all gonna be quarantined inside or back at home. And so I don't know. It's kind of changed a few things, but for the most part, we're gonna bounce around and do different things on different days. So we're kind of busy, but yeah, I think we're trying to be more careful uh, with the older grandparents and things like that. So
yeah,
it'll be a little tricky, but I think it opened everybody's eyes about COVID after the brother-in-law got it. So
gotcha.
So yeah, but it'll be fun. But yeah, I'm excited. So
Yeah, well, just extend the same to you. You know, hope Merry Christmas to you and your little family and everyone listening. Hopefully you had a wonderful Christmas. If anything, hopefully you had your belly full, or maybe had one or two good laughs, or whatever it is. Celebrate the little things this year, I think too. But
yes, sir.
with that being said, thanks for listening. We enjoy you guys. Look forward to our next episode, and thanks.
We'll see you in the next one, guys.